Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Koala and this is my little nook in this end of the universe that we call YouTube. I am a shamanic practitioner mainly within Nordic shamanism, and I'm here today to talk about goddess ceremonies and the goddesses that I celebrate throughout the year. So first off, this list that I'm gonna go through is not end all be all when it comes to Nordic goddesses, because there are of course more than these. These are just ones that I work frequently with, that I honor throughout the year, and there is absolutely space for me, for you, to explore other goddesses as well. So let's get into it, shall we? So I'm gonna start off by talking about all of the goddesses one at a time that I celebrate throughout the year. So I'm gonna start, with the one that is closest in time from when I am recording this, and then go through all of the whole year. And then at the end of the video, I'm gonna talk a little bit about how you can celebrate these goddesses together with me. Just know that in 2026, I will be continuing to do what I have been doing for parts of 2025, which is to share a video about the goddess, each goddess, where I dive deeper into my practice with that goddess and what you can do. And I'm gonna share that video, one video of those for each goddess when the celebration is coming up. So for example, when I'm recording this, it's the middle of December and we are approaching Skadi's long night, the celebration for Skadi. And I did, in the beginning of December, share a video about her. I can link it up here so you can see what I mean. So videos like that in a playlist that I call Nordic Gods and Goddesses, I'm going to continue to fill up that playlist throughout the year. So you will know more about all of these goddesses as we approach their celebration. The purpose of this video is partly to just talk about them all throughout the year and give you an overview, and then partly to invite you to join me to celebrate all of these goddesses on my Patreon for 2026. So those are the two purposes. So I'm gonna start by talking a little bit about Saga, because when I am sharing this, the long night of Skadi will probably be happening, or we will be past the long night of Skadi for 2025. So I will jump right into 2026. All right. So the first goddess that I actively celebrate during the year is Saga, and she is the goddess for storytelling and for stories and storytelling, but also for divination, like spå. And this is a goddess that I work with in the beginning of the year to help me see what I need to see for the coming year. So when I work with Skadi at the winter solstice, that is when I celebrate the winter solstice, I make plans for the year ahead. But those plans go kinda into hibernation beneath the ice, and I just let it be. But then when Saga's Eve comes in February, I bring those back just to look at them and see what I want to prioritize, and she helps me with that. So some things I might be like, oh, I really want to do these things, I'm so looking forward to having this done and this done and this done, but Saga will help me to discern what is actually worth pursuing, and I still don't act on anything for the year unless there's something really coming up in the ceremony with Saga that is like, yeah, I need to do this right now, or I need to sow the seeds for this right now, because I plant my seeds by the spring equinox. So we're still a month, there's still a month or a month and a half to that point when I celebrate Saga. So Saga is a goddess whose divinational skills most often come to the forefront of this ceremony, but I'm also open to whatever when I celebrate her. So the point of celebrating Saga is to celebrate her, you know, to invite her into my circle, to pull out some objects that I relate to her, and to meditate with her. And whatever she brings into the ceremony and whatever she shows me, that is what I am experiencing. And, you know, I don't try to steer it too much. Oftentimes when I celebrate with other people, because for a few years now I have been celebrating with people in Swedish on Zoom, and we have celebrated all of the goddesses. And so the point of each ceremony is to celebrate the goddess, to get to know the goddess, and then whatever they bring into the ceremony and into our experience with the goddess, that is what we receive. So I really want to emphasize that this early in this video, because if you want to walk with the goddesses with me next year, if you want to celebrate the goddesses with me next year, then you need to know that we don't steer too much. We just celebrate and honor and get to know the goddesses. That is the most important thing. So Saga is the goddess of storytelling, of stories, of divination and spore. And her medicine is so wonderful and great, and I look forward to sharing more about her in a video in January with you guys. So then we get to the spring equinox, and before I go into that, I just want to say that all the dates that I have set for next year for celebrating the goddesses in English are in the description box, or there is a link to a public post on my Patreon or on my website where you can see all of the dates if you are interested in knowing exactly when I celebrate them and when you can celebrate them with me. So at the spring equinox I celebrate Idun. Idun is the goddess of youth. She is a fertility goddess, and she has a basket of apples that she comes to the gods with, and they bite into that to get eternal youth. She is one of the goddesses of love, and according to myth, she is a lover, a mistress to almost all of the gods in the Norse mythology, and she does have a husband, and that's Brage. So yeah, and I have been celebrating Idun at the spring equinox for quite some time now, and I will talk more about her in a video in the beginning of March or the end of February. And then in April, I have just recently, like last year or maybe the last 2 years, celebrated Eir. And we can celebrate Eir around the spring equinox as well. Or I have been celebrating her in April, because one of the things that I do when I celebrate the goddesses throughout the year is that I walk with them for some time. So I invite them into my space, into my ceremony, where I honor them, and then I walk with them and let them guide me throughout a moon cycle. Eir is the goddess of healing, among other things, healing with herbs. So she is, she's a goddess that can help us get to know our herbs and our natural medicines. So I have only been working with her for the last couple of years. And then we are approaching Walpurgisnacht, which I know that you don't celebrate all over the world, but in Sweden it's a big thing. It's called Valborg, and that is the 30th of April. And around that time I celebrate Freya and her bonfire. So Freya's bonfire is what I call this celebration. And this is a time of year when we really explore our creative and our creative side and our passion, because Freya is just as Idun, she is a goddess of love, but I feel like her love is more burning, like her energy is more burning, more passionate, more she's more fierce in a way. So I explored that energy together with Freya at the end of April, beginning of May. So then we get to the summer solstice, and of course at the summer solstice we celebrate Sunna. It's called the long day of Sunna, where in Sweden we almost have no night, so like the sun goes down. If it doesn't even really go down, we have, it's, the night is, you know, light. We can walk around not as if it's daylight, but it's very bright in the middle of the night, but the sun technically goes, you know, beyond the horizon and then comes up again. But you can hardly notice. So depending on how cloudy it is, if the sky is clouded, then of course it feels darker for a couple of hours in the middle of the night. But we call that the long day of Sunna, and it's actually 3 days that the sun is the same. Like the sun stays in approximately the same place, or come back to the same place for 3 days. So it's three days and 2 nights, I think. That is really like one long day, or a day with like just a little bit of difference in light. So with bright days, of course, with the sun, if the sun is shining. So we celebrate her around the summer solstice, which is also a big thing here in Sweden. We have Midsummer's Eve that we celebrate. And yeah, I really enjoy celebrating Sunna. And Midsummer's Eve is something in Sweden that is always on a specific date, I think, or a specific day of the week, while we celebrate Sunna on the summer solstice each year. So sometimes they coincide like this, and sometimes they don't. So I tend to want to celebrate her at the summer solstice precisely, or the day before or the day after, because as I said, there's 3 days there. So depending on where Midsummer's Eve land, I celebrate Sunna in the near vicinity of that. And then the next goddess that I celebrate is in the beginning of August, and that is Ran. Ran is the goddess of the sea, the goddess of ocean and water, and she has 9 daughters that are 9 waves with different names and different energies. And I just love celebrating Ran, and last year was the first time I dove into really getting to know her daughters much better. And I really loved the feeling of going into meditation, diving into the water and feeling the currents of the waves when the daughters greeted me and when I got to know them. And then I walked with one of the daughters for a moon instead of Ran herself, and it was a really interesting experience to walk with a current in your life for a moon cycle. And then we get up to the autumn equinox, when I celebrate the Norns. So this is the eve of the Norns, and the Norns are the 3 goddesses of destiny or fate. These are the goddesses in the Nordic tradition that cut cords, weave the web of life, and help build the future, or weave the future. So we have Urd, that is the goddess of the past, and then we have Verdandi, that is the goddess of present, and then we have Skuld, that is the goddess of the future. And yeah, as I said, because I'm gonna share a video on each and every goddess when we close in on that date, approximately 3 weeks ahead. So in the instance where I celebrate the goddesses with just a month in between, most often it's 6 weeks in between, because we roughly follow the same dates of the year. That's the Wiccan tradition and those Sabbats. But sometimes it's just 4 weeks in between 2 goddesses, and I usually like give myself a week before recording the video for the next one, because I want to stay in the energy. So, but I do it when I feel called to, and when the next goddess is like, I'm here, don't forget me, we're gonna meet soon. And then in October, around Samhain or All Hallows Eve, we celebrate Hel, the goddess of death and life, and the goddess of Helheim. And yeah, that was quite recent. It's just been a few weeks since I stopped working with her. So the biggest gap during the year, I think, is between celebrating Hel at the end of October, beginning of November, and then Skadi at the winter solstice. I think it's like 7 weeks apart or something. So that's the biggest gap. So yeah. And then we have Skadi, that I want to mention her as well. So Skadi is the goddess that I celebrate during the winter solstice, or the long night of Skadi. So it's been 6 months since the long day of Sunna, and now we're at the long night of Skadi. And this is celebrating not just the return of the sun with the winter solstice, because the winter solstice for me, that celebration is about the return of the sun and celebrating the coming year, and leaving the year behind that I have walked through, and then welcoming the next. Skadi is about resting in the space of the darkness and also the brightness, because her world is a world of ice and snow. It's very, very bright. So even though it's a long night, it's very bright night. So celebrating her and getting to know her is about resting in that space, but also facing fears and seeing where am I in the moment, and just letting her come with clarity in the moment. It's less about where I'm going or where I've been, and more about being in the moment with Skadi, which I really think is important, because the time of year when we go into a new year, there's a lot of emphasis on leaving the year behind and looking back at accomplishments and that sort of thing. And I do that as well during my winter solstice celebration, but it's nice to not just have to focus on that, and also not have to, be in the maybe anxiety for future that some people experience, and that I feel that other people experience. So being in the moment with Skadi is really important, and I love doing this with all of the goddesses, being in the moment with that goddess and celebrating her. So more than walking throughout the year with them, which is a part of celebrating them, but that's more a part of getting to know them, to give myself time and space to walk with them, to get to know them a little more, especially if I really need them. I often let myself feel in the moment, in the ceremony. Does this one goddess want to walk with me for a time, or doesn't she? And do I need her to, or don't I? So I almost often plan on giving myself time to walk with each goddess for a moon, but it's not always that I do. But the people that join me in ceremony often feel like they want to, and they invite the goddess to walk with them for a time. So that's what I'm gonna give people time to do when celebrating on Patreon. So now I'm gonna go into how that will work. So if you're not interested in celebrating with me at all, then maybe you can just skip to the end. But now I'm gonna talk a little bit about my Patreon and how you can join me in ceremony. The focus on celebrating the goddesses throughout the year on Patreon is gonna be to give yourself time to not just celebrate each goddess, but also invite her into your life if you wish to. So I'm gonna make a tier, or I have made a tier. When this video comes out, I probably have made a tier that is gonna be called Ceremonies or something like that. I will have the name here. So this tier is gonna focus solely on ceremonies throughout the year, and not just the goddess ceremonies, but those are gonna be the main focus. When I say not just, is because I want to offer you one ceremony each month. So as I said, there are times in the year where I don't celebrate a goddess, you know, because I most often celebrate them, you know, with the yearly ceremonies. So during the months that we don't celebrate goddesses, we will still hold a ceremony together, and in the moment I have some ideas and inspiration to those ceremonies, but I haven't settled upon them yet. And I won't probably until like a month before each. So if you join my tier, you will know a month ahead what the next ceremony is gonna be, so that you can plan if you want to join me for that or not. Because you can join the tier and then change to the free tier and then change back. You know, it's up to you how you wanna go about that. But I would love for you to join me for the entire year, of course, in all of the ceremonies. You can join me maybe only for the goddesses that you like. It's up to you. So this is how it's gonna work. We're gonna have one ceremony each month, and approximately 8 or 9 of those are gonna be celebrating goddesses. So there's gonna be 3 or 4 ceremonies throughout the year that's not gonna be focused on goddesses. When you join me on this tier for the ceremonies, I will also share the videos as soon as I have recorded the videos for the upcoming goddess ceremony. Then you will get a first hand at that. So I will share it on that tier first, so that you can see that, and then I will share it on YouTube, like maybe a few days after or something like that, depending on when I record it. But as soon as I recorded it, you will get it, so that you know, so it will be a part of that, the preview of that. So that's that tier. One ceremony a month, not the same date every month, because we are celebrating the goddesses when they want to be celebrated, or when I usually celebrate them. And there's gonna be some other ceremonies as well. If you want to join me for those, I would love for you to do that. And if you are like, well, Koala, I'm already walking with the runes, or I already plan to walk with the runes with you next year. Do I have to choose? No, you don't have to choose, because I'm gonna do a tier that is an all-inclusive tier, and it has actually been my plan from the beginning when I wanted to start a Patreon. When I wanted to start a Patreon, I wanted to have one free tier for people to just get some extra content and get to know me a little more, and support me if they don't have the money to do it with money. And then I wanted the tier of Curious to be where people can support me a little bit every month and get some more content and live shows. And then I wanted 3 other tiers, which is the Apprentice tier with a course, then the Ceremonial tier with ceremonies, and then a tier that I call Practitioner, that is all inclusive. You get all of the content on the Practitioner tier. That is the highest tier that I'm gonna have for quite some time. So if you choose the Practitioner's tier, you get the courses on the Apprentice tier, and you get to join me in ceremony. And before I stop talking about the ceremonies, I also want to say that the ceremonies are going to take place on Zoom for the foreseeable future. So when you join me on the ceremonial tier, I will, or the practitioner's tier, you will get a link to the ceremony, and then you will join me on Zoom, and and that will be recorded just as the live. If I would have a live, I would record that as well. So I will record that ceremony, and then I will cut out the bits where other people talk and I will share that on the ceremonial tier and the Practitioner's tier within a week after the ceremony. So if you can't join me when the ceremony is, that's fine, you can watch it afterwards. Maybe you don't even want to join me live or something like that. Maybe you feel much more better just watching and celebrating, you know, with me, but not, you know, face to face, and that's fine. So I just want to make that clear that on the ceremonial tier there might be some live shows some days. Maybe if no one is joining me for a ceremony, maybe people are busy with their own celebration of the spring equinox or something like that, I might hold a live on the tier and then save that for you. So I hope you want to join me in Ceremony 2026. There will be links in the description box, and one of those links will be to either my website or my Patreon with a list of all of the Nordic Goddess ceremonies for 2026. And if I have planned other ceremonies as well for this tier, it will also be in that list. And yeah, I will have more information about the tier also on my Patreon. And this tier will start in January of 2026. And I will hopefully see you there. Or I will see you on my apprentice tier walking with the runes. Or I will see you on my curious tier with whatever happens there right now. And if you don't have any money to support me that way right now, please become a free member and follow me on Patreon, and you will get all of the updates for Patreon, and you will also get one bonus video a month. So I want to end this video by thanking all of my current patrons on all the tiers. I love you guys. I'm so glad that you are there sharing this wonderful shamanic community with me. And yeah, I will see you soon. I will see you there. I will see you here. I will see you in the world wide web of life. Walk in beauty and shingling.